Good morning. I wanted to talk today about my experience with my United Healthcare Advantage Dual Complete HMO plan. I'm in Florida, USA, and I am elated with my plan. I did get a little PO'd yesterday and ended up smashing my finger in the van. You see the purplishness. It looked worse than this, guys. It looked worse than this. Here's my regular finger. Here's my van smashed finger. Yeah. Yeah, it actually looks much better than yesterday. So, that was an accident. I don't even know how the heck it happened. I was just so flustered. It was just a rough first half of the day, but then things got better. All I was trying to do was use the restroom at Burger King. I walk in the restroom and the light won't come on. I walk in further and the light won't come on. And I let the door close fully and the light won't come on. And a guy sees me messing with the door. He says, "What is going on here?" And I told him what was happening. I think he was a Greek. And he said, "Light no come on?" I said, "No, it won't come on." I said, "I'm going to go get my phone out of the car." So I went to the van and I grabbed my phone out of the drink cup holder and I went to close the door. I don't even know how the heck it happened. He slammed the door on my finger. I'm like, ow! But then it went totally numb and so I was fine. But, this was really, really open and kind of bloody looking and it was a mess. And it wasn't as bruised as it is today. The bruising was only in this area and now it's the whole finger. So, so let me go back a minute. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, I have my coffee, and I go over to the eyeglass place to be there by 8. And I do have to say, it was efficient. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close to the time they said I would be taken in. And the eye doctor was very fast and efficient. I hope she was right because my subscription changed drastically. Where it said 2.00 for the ad, there was none on the top number, but it went up 50 on the bottom number. So then I had 0 and then a 250. And then in the other 3 boxes, they had all gone down by a point. So I was very surprised about that. I was expecting, I said, "Did it change much?" When she was, she said slightly. But she didn't tell me that some of it was for the best. Well, anyway, so United pays for the exam. They also pay $400 for glasses. Now, the year before they were paying $500, and I probably should have gone then. But I didn't know they were going to be cutting me down, like the dental, the eye. Lost a great deal of money on both. I think I lost $500 on dental. So it went from like $4,000 to $3,500. And I'm having a dentist tell me that they don't cover anything, which I know is a lie. They don't want to take it, is what they mean. So now I'm going to have to go through my plan, and I think I found another dentist. And after I get this other stuff done, I'm going to make an appointment for a dentist. But let me go backwards again. So, this is so scattered. I'm so sorry. So I wake up at 6. I have my coffee. I took a shower. I go to the eye place. I get my exam, and then I want to get glasses. So she says, "You want glasses?" And I said, "I want prices first." So we sit down, and what do your frames start at? Well, they start at $100. I've not seen that anywhere, okay? Not in the years that it's been since I've had to go get some. Now, these are very, very old. I think these are like, these are very, very old. I think I kept these for a long time. I wouldn't go back to the eye doctor. And now I know why. So let me tell you about it. What was I saying? Oh my God, I'm so scattered. So the frames start at 100. I said, "Well, what do the progressive lens start at?" She says 280. I said, can you print me out all of this so I can see, you know, and compare it, because I'm going to go shopping. She says, no, we're not allowed to print that out unless you're making a purchase. I said, what is the worst case scenario? Can you give me a rough price of what the finished price will be? She said about $500, but my coverage only covers 4. I hope I'm not repeating myself. Anyway, I'll have to go back and look at this one. So I go into my van and I start making phone calls, and everybody's worse in price. I know that Walmart, I can get a pair for about $200, $250. So I'm starting to wonder if I should just go with the one I trust and pay out of pocket. But instead, I call one of the other places, and they said, yeah, they take dual complete, and their progressive started way lower than the place I'd been at. So I drive over there, and I get there, and he tells me to go start looking at the frames. This is which are the cheapest, and he shows me the yellow tag, and those ones are $49.95. And I found a beautiful pair of purple lilac colored frames. I loved them. And I take them up to the person. I pull out my card, and she says, we don't take dual complete. I said, but I called and asked. She said, we take United. We don't take dual complete. I know I specifically asked. C'est la vie. So I left that place without the beautiful frames that I really wanted. And then I, what did I do? I got back in my van. I called Walmart and talked to them. She said, why don't you just come in and see if there's a pair of frames you like? And I said, okay, that's cool. But I had to go to the bathroom really bad. And I knew the Burger King was right across the way. So I drive over to the Burger King. I get inside and I try to open, you know, the door, and the light's supposed to come on. It wouldn't. And then I walked further in. I let the door close. It still wouldn't. So then I go out to the truck to get my phone to use the flashlight, because I gotta go, and I gotta go now. And so I get and when I closed the door, somehow I caught my finger in the door. I screamed, ow! And then I said, screw it, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I go back with turn my phone, my flashlight on, and I go in. And as soon as I get to the door of the handicap stall, guess what happened? The lights came on, but I couldn't see in pitch black darkness to get to that door in the first place, and then maybe I wouldn't have had this problem. So now I'm just angry. I'm angry at United. I'm angry at the optical place. I'm angry at the United States of America. I'm angry. And so I go home, because I'm like, I need ice on this. It's swelling. It looks like a water buffalo, you know. It was bad. Worse than this, right? And it was scary looking. Like, I was like, oh. So I get ice on it. I'm laying in bed, propped up. I like to prop myself up in bed. I find it more comfortable in this chair. And I said, you know what? When I was at the optical place, I called several other eyeglass places. I called Eye Care, who is the vision provider for my plan. And I talked to them, and it was very hard to understand. She had to keep spelling the words she was saying. Because I said, I'm so sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. Would you please spell that? And she'd spell it, and I'd write it down. So I got 2 websites from her. And so I'm sitting in my bed, and I said, and I tried the website at first, but it wasn't showing any prices. And the reason for that is you have to sign in. Mercy. So I signed in, and I was able to start shopping. And I found 2 frames that I felt would work for me. Now, I could have gone with pretty and bigger lens, but the problem is my progressives are so thick, even with an ultra thin lens, that it weighs heavily on the bridge of my nose and my ears, can cause them to hurt. So I know better. I know I have to have a time. Now, I was going to, go with that purple pair, which were kind of, maybe like that wide and thinner. But they told me at that eye place that I couldn't take that frame with me. They probably would not allow it to be used on my plan. So I had to leave that frame behind. I really liked those a lot. But, so I'm looking through and I'm looking for very, very small frame area where the lens is. And I found two. One was a little wider and one was quite narrow. And I decided on the quite narrow black crappy frames. And then they show you what it's going to cost you, and it kept saying 0. And then I picked my lenses, and I picked all the bells and whistles on the lenses, ultra thin, different glazes, and protections and what have you, water beading, the whole 9 yards. And this time I got to be very careful about cleaning them, because the doctor did tell me, the optometrist, that the reason my glazing was peeling off is because I was wiping them with alcohol, and you can't do that. So now I got to look up online and research to see, well, what can I use to clean my glasses? I need to know. So, because, I don't know what it is about me, but I'm terrible. So I don't know how these are going to look on me, because I've ordered them online, and it was under the $400, and so it didn't cost me anything out of pocket, which I am truly grateful for. Because right now I'm kind of in a large amount of debt, and I had to get a transfer card and transfer all of my other balances to the one card, and it's good for 21 months. And I'm going to easily be able to pay that off. But right now, Christmas is coming, and I do like to get gifts for my family, even though a lot of you are going to say, you're poor, don't buy anything. No, I want to use the extra money that I'll be saving by not paying off those cards, as fast as I can. I'm going to start my Christmas shopping October 3rd when my check comes in, and I'm going to end it November. After that November check comes, and I have a little extra money there, I'll finish my shopping and I'll be done. I only purchase for my children, and Maggie and Finn. Those are the only people in my life I shop for. And so to me, so that's 4, 5, 6 people that I shop for. It's important. I love Christmas. And I love giving gifts. So, and I know that God takes care of me, and He'll provide, I needed a lot of things in the past few months. Plus there was my trip, and I wasn't expecting that, over $1,000 in repairs on the road, That's the majority of the, I paid my cards down, but then that was the old statements. When the new statement came in, I was like, holy Toledo, I thought I paid that down, but that wasn't the case at all. As you can see, I'm wearing the Temu wig. I don't know how I feel about it. Let me show you as much of it as I can. I sprayed it down. I adjusted the straps. And this is what I have. It's kind of a cute little pixie. It's not cut the same on both sides. I've noticed that. On one side's shorter than the other and cut a bit. I think this is the longer side. And I think this is the side that's cut shorter and differently. But you decide. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this wig. They refunded me and said, don't return it. It is, when I first put it on this morning, it felt like football helmet, and it still is rather uncomfortable, but in air conditioning, not unbearable. So maybe I'll use it for doing videos. They let me also keep this one. 2 of them I did send back yesterday. When I know I'm going to be out, that's when I try to do as many errands as possible when I have an important whatever. This one, the color is so weird, but maybe I'll wet it and try it again. So I got to keep this one as well. This is the, don't put your fingers through type of, it's kind of, it's reminiscent of the hairdo wig. Maybe I'll wet it and play with it. I wet this down and kind of like just, messed around with it. And I think it looks really good on me. I could also use like product or hairspray. I mean, this one was $13 and I can't remember what this one, said and done, because I had to pay shipping and tax. And I think this one was like $12, but I'm getting money back for both of them. And then the other 2 I had to send back, and I didn't like either one of those anyway. What a strange, is this supposed to be white? I much like the salt and pepper. I don't think this looks right on me. I don't know. We'll see. And in addition to that, I'm going to order a few more. Yes, I am. And see if I can find. I was looking back on Polly Young at the Whisper Light, and they're under new ownership. I don't know if that's going to change the quality of their wigs, but I might find out. I found 4 of them I really, really like, but it comes to a lot of money. So, for me. So I have it in my cart. I'm thinking about it. I'll see. So I just wanted to touch base and tell you about my experience with United Healthcare. I was able to get my glasses. So convenient nowadays. The digital world is so convenient. I was angry at first about the digital world. I couldn't get through to my GP. And finally, I just went on the website, and it was so easy to make an appointment. And the same thing with the optical place. I just could go online and change the appointment at will, cancel the old one, get a new one, because I needed to do that. Because I wasn't expecting to go to Colorado, and it was, at that time I was supposed to go originally, and I just changed it online. It's just, I don't know. I do like the digital world for that sort of thing. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And the next video I plan to make is going to be a makeup video. What fun. And now that I have hair, it should be a lot of fun, though. I'm probably going to do the makeup without the hair and then put the hair on. So that's it. It was fun talking to you, because sometimes it just gets so, I don't know, empty in this place, and I need to talk to someone. That's it, guys. See you soon. Bye.